It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. I've got a beer to show you today. The brewery originally, when they first came out, or Windsor Eton Brewery were brewing, and then they wanted to open up a craft beer arm of their brewery. So they started a company called Uprising Craft Beer. And they sent me a plastic bottle. You might see it on the channel. It's probably next to this if you did a YouTube search for this very beer. They sent me a plastic bottle full of this Treason West Coast IPA it was very much kind of pre-production, just a sample product for me to try. And they wanted my feedback on it. I believe I put it on YouTube. I'm pretty sure I put it on YouTube. It was a very good beer back then. But this is it in its final it's probably been in its final packaging for a number of years now, because that was a number of years ago. This is Treason West Coast IPA, 5.8% ABV by Windsor Eton Brewery, 440 milliliter can. At first, looking at that, it is a paddle. I was thinking paddle, or it looks like a top of a guitar, doesn't it? But anyway, I really like the label on this. Really like it, with the craft brewery in the background. Looks fabulous. Let's get it out into a glass, see what we get. I paid £3 for this recently in Waitrose. Waitrose stock this beer if you want to go and try it. Yes, one of those beers, I suppose, where I feel like I kind of started the journey with these guys. They're lovely people down there at Windsor Eton. We have a 4-finger white head, good levels of carbonation rolling up the glass. It's a hazy amber looking beer. Typical for West Coast IPA. American West Coast styles of IPAs generally have a deep amber colour to them. This is not New England. This is not, I mean, there's so many New England IPAs out there. I almost kind of like, my shoulders are dropping these days with the amount of New England. It's like another New England IPA. Love the beer, love the brand, love the style, love everything about New England IPA. It's just there's millions of them. And it's quite refreshing actually to see a more of, dare I say it, traditional looking West Coast IPA from America. I say dare I say it because this beer style is probably only 20 years, maybe 30 years maximum in the making. If I was to hazard a guess, the first West Coast IPA was either brewed by Stone Brewing Company or it was probably Sierra Nevada's Torpedo. But it looks good. Let's get the aroma. Lovely and hoppy. Lovely and hoppy. It's got a jammy tartness to it as well. Like a mixed fruit jam. Marmalade on rye. Smells really good. So marmalade with that kind of slightly peppery, spicy feel to the beer. Grapefruit, lemon. Bit of passion fruit. It smells amazing. I'm going to die. And of course, plenty of malt as well. That kind of slightly biscuity malt flavour coming through. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Oh, yeah, definitely West Coast. Oh, it's got a lovely bitter bite to it. It's really there. It's got a balance to it. Let's start off with the balance, because I don't really talk about balance of beer too much anymore, but it has got a balance. It starts off with a good amount of sweetness, not overly done, thankfully, but then it goes over to be really raspy and kind of bitter on the back end, and it kind of, that little bit of sweetness helps to balance off that rasping bitterness on the back end. It's definitely an unfiltered. I love it when craft brewers, a lot of them do it. Love it when you see this kind of unfiltered beer in a can. Wonderful. It's got a nice mouthfeel too. I'm going to hazard a guess that this beer, I'm not going to say oats. I was about to say oats. No, I'm not going to say oats. I'm going to say it's just got a really good malt bill to it that gives off, with the combination of the hops, it gives off a slight stickiness, almost kind of on its way to being barley wine style mouthfeel, where you definitely get a feel for that malt in the mouth, that mouthfeel. It's not overly porridgey. It's quite sticky with the hops. You can feel the hops sticking to the lips a little bit. If you've ever been to a brewery, or if you've ever been to a beer festival for that matter, because I was at CBRX last week and there was lots of hops there. They get you to kind of break up some hop pellets in your hand, some of these places, and put it in the palm of your hand there, and then rub it together. You get the kind of the hop oils then breaking down in your hands, and you get a stickiness on the hands. You can feel it, especially with hop flowers. I love doing it with hop flowers, really pulling the hop flowers apart and getting that kind of oily stickiness on your hands. If you use a lot of hops in your beer, then there's no doubt that that slight stickiness is going to make its way to your lips as well, which is a sign. It's a sign that there's lots of hops in the beer. Pardon me. It's a very good beer. It's a very, very good beer. Carbonation pushes the beer around the inside of the mouth, releases more of that flavour. It's quite carbonated, as you can hear. It's blooming good. It's blooming good beer. Let me show you the can. So you can scan this. I wondered if it works if I pause the video, or you pause the video, the Uprising story. So if you want to scan that QR code with your mobile phones, you can go and check out the Uprising story, their craft beer story. So Treason West Coast IPA is brewed by the Windsor Eton Brewery, Windsor, Berkshire. Water, malted barley, full leaf hops. Wow! I like that. I really like that. I like that they've gone full leaf hops. That's what I was talking about earlier on with the hop oils in your hands. It's not pellets. This is 100% like. This is almost like you would get from those fresh hop beers down in kind of Kent way, where they grow all the hops. They literally pull them off the vines, and they're kind of stripping them off the vines and making beer out of it straight away. That's wonderful. I like the thought of that. No hop oils, no pellets, just absolute kind of pure hops. You can taste it in the beer, actually. That's the first time I've read that on the side of the label. I don't kind of read stuff on labels, but that's given the beer an extra kind of dimension for me, because it's really good West Coast IPA. And the fact you can pick it up in your local Waitrose is even better, isn't it? I like that. I really like that. Taste the freshness in there. It's a beautiful beer. It's a 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.